All right, welcome to the channel, guys. Today, we are going to talk about the 2024 Mustang. Now, did I trade in my 2022 Stacy Mustang GT Atlas Blue? No, I did not. This is a rental. I finally got to try it. I actually did see this vehicle at the Vancouver Auto Show about 2 weeks ago, and I got to sit in it. But now, for the last 5 days, I'm in beautiful Hawaii, and I got to actually drive it. So we're going to talk about the user experience. This is an Ecoboost, which is my first time trying it. It's on automatic as well. So I'm not going to go into the engine specs. You guys can go to Ford.com, look at the specs. There's a ton of videos talking about the extra horsepower. Big story short, long story short, short story short, Cole's notes. Basically, my understanding between the V8 of the S550 and the 650 is I think it gained about an extra 20, maybe 25 horsepower. So that was the difference in terms of the engine. But again, take it with a grain of salt from me. Check it online, check on the other YouTube videos because there's a lot of options. But I wanted to go into the actual, the looks. Let's start with the exterior, what makes it different. And before I get into all these details, take a look at the link above. I'll post it at the end of the video. I did a comparison back when I first saw this, when I waited to buy my Mustang and I saw the 2024 release and I was not impressed. And I'll say this as a full disclaimer because I do have a few friends that own a 24 and they love it. And I'm so happy for you guys. And big shout out to Joe for this because I know you like yours. And like I said, this is just my personal preference, my opinion. Don't be discouraged of, if you have your hearts on this, go get it, right? Enjoy it. Live once, make it count. But this video, we're going to talk about, like I said, the little pros and cons from my perspective between my 22 to the 24. So let's go. Let's take a look. So first off, let's talk about the body. So the body is gently been recrafted where we've got the headlights are a little different. And not a bad detail. I don't mind them. And, we find that the curvature is a little bit different. We've more, they said the more chiseled look. And especially with little areas like this. Now, and being totally fair, this is a convertible, which I'm having a blast in. I've never driven a convertible and it is a lot of fun. But if this was the true kind of fastback look, this would be a more gentle curve on the 22. And on the 24, it's a more hard line notch into it. And we even see that particular details. We come right here. These lights are just cranked in and it's a little bit different. One thing I do appreciate is no piano finish. I love my piano finish, but it's so hard to keep clean on the rear side. But I find the lights from the 22 to the 24 just different. I personally like my lights better, but everyone has their preference, of course. And I apologize. She's very dirty. And as we're doing this review and me driving and having a blast with her, you can keep this a little quiet from Stacy. I'd really appreciate it. Don't want to step on any toes there. I love my 22. So let's get into the interior because that's where it's really we're going to get into about the details of everything. All right, so we're in the car. Let's talk about the interior driving experience. We're not going to talk about the engine, like I said. We're not going to talk about the drivability. This is very base model, so it doesn't have the Magna rides, you know what I mean? It's just different feelings. These are the standard kind of Ford seats, unlike the Recaros. And just saying that, again, video up here about the Recaro seats. I love the Recaros. Again, I'm around a 185 mark now. At the time of shooting the video of the Recaro seats, I was at 211, so that's why we set goals. But I really love my Recaro seats for the drive. It takes the experience, but these are really comfortable. If you're going for long drives, the heat and the cool, they're pretty slick. So that's what we're looking at in terms of comparing. But let's turn on the engine let's just kind of put in the idle mode, turn it on, push the button. And we get this heartbeat sensor. I'm still trying to figure out what the thought is that. So it's kind of interesting. It's like put your seatbelt on so you don't die, keep your heart rate. I don't know. So when you're in it, one thing is the finishes are much different, right? Before, and we had that kind of gunmetal, which I really love. I really do. They did a fantastic job and I really appreciate that detail. But what makes this a different interior is we've kind of got that graphite kind of all throughout, and nothing wrong with it, especially in the door panels and everything. It's different, but I personally like the way mine is set up in the 22. But again, this is all my preference. You have yours, and I'd love to see it in the comments too. And if you're enjoying what you're liking to see what you're so far, please like, subscribe, you know the drill. So one thing we got out the first, we got kind of like 6 buttons here. So we've got the automatic engine on and off. I'm constantly turning this off. I looked in the settings, correct me wrong, but I couldn't find it where it could do it. I'm sure if I dove in and did some real research, I could find it, but I can't turn, there's a button here just to turn that on and off. I hate it. I never like it, especially in a standard, like just no way. I always turn that off. So you always have to click this off under the normal mode, but if you go into, you know, sport mode, then automatically it's off by default. But that's the first button. The next one is the Mustang itself, which then takes you into this whole display that you can start playing with everything, play with your settings, and that is really cool. I'll give you that. That's a huge win for the 24. You really want to fine tune everything, that's the way to do it. We got our anti-skid, our 4-way flashers. We've got the star button, and the cool thing about the star button is you can program it. So for example, like rev match. I love rev match on the highway, and not what basically it automatically, when I gear down or anything, it immediately kicks into the right RPMs and everything, and I just rip off, right? I love it. But unfortunately, I have to go through a menu in my case. It'd be nice if I could have programmed a button. So again, kudos for the 24 to giving that option. And then we've got our front defrosting and stuff like that. And then we got our volume button on the right, and that's pretty straightforward. Our air grills are here, a little bit different versus up here. And then we've got this big screen. Love-hate about the screen. So first off, with the screen, it is a screen, and it's gonna show the fingerprints like crazy. And when you're cleaning this, do not just grab any microfiber cloth, get a very special fine-tune one, kind of like go to, you know, your Best Buy or whatever and get one of those TV screen cleaners, right? Where you spray the rag first and then gently clean it. You should be never putting any pressure on this because you will scratch this screen. It's like a piano finish, for example, too, so be cautious with that. So that's kind of the big thing. Again, comparing it to my 22, I've been beating the GT, I've got my different gauges, oil pressure and the vacuum and everything. I like that. And this is where I'm kind of torn between the two, is like why I really like my 22s. I'm a touchy-feely guy. I love to touch and move stuff. So for me to change my modes on my car, I've got little paddle switches. If I want to put 4-way flashers, which I do on the highway, and I see everyone hitting the brakes, I put my 4-ways on, make sure someone's not going to come up behind me. Those are little features that I really like. And I just love the look because they designed it after the kind of aviation perspective of the gun, you know, of the fighter jet model, and they wanted that. And I just love it. I really do. But this, again, this is this is fantastic too. Again, total preference. So with the screen, the thing I love about the screen is when I'm into CarPlay, I get this huge display, and that is pretty slick. I got a huge map, I take advantage of the whole entire thing, and that's what really counts. But again, if I want to change the heat on my 22, I would have a little toggle, so I know where it is. Mentally, I can just grab it, I can do it. And again, if I had more time with this, maybe my opinion would change. But I could easily come in here, and in this case, I'm just hitting the plus, the minus, and doing this. And I find this really hard driving, and that's just my 2 cents. CarPlay, that's, like I said, lots of videos on CarPlay. CarPlay is amazing. Android Auto, I'm sure, is exactly the same, but you get the idea. Moving on to the steering wheel, again, it'll be a learning curve for me, and that's fine. I've got my modes on the left side, and kind of my drivability, and then you've got your cruise control and everything here. And on the right side, I've got my volume, and then I got my up and downs, my steering, and then my series. So I'm not totally keen with the placement of the buttons on the steering wheel, but again, I think that's just a time thing, and then you get used to it and that, so on. As far as the steering wheel itself, I like my round wheel. I feel like they kind of took what they did on the Bronco and brought it over here, which is fine, it's okay, but I really like my round wheel. So, and then anything else, like I said, it's all pretty standard for it. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but that's kind of my high level overview of the 2024 Mustang, the drivability. It drives great, it's fantastic. I love the convertible style. Not for me in BC where it rains all the time. But yeah, it's just a different kind of look. I do find CarPlay, it would be kind of laggy at sometimes, like you skip a song and you wait a second and then it does its thing. Again, that could be an Apple thing. We won't put that on Ford. But overall, if you're in the market for it, it is a great ride. It's fun. Again, personal preference. You've heard it. I'm being broken record now. I like my 22. So, but that's it. Me signing off. Again, appreciate all the support that you guys do, that you give and everything. Drop the comments what you think. Again, take a look at the video of me comparing the 24 to the 22 way back when it was launched and my kind of initial thoughts. But if you're in the market for a Mustang or something, now's the time. Eventually these are going to phase out in respect to the gas electric era. So leave it at that, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one, guys. See ya.